it's Kathy, and welcome back to another Sunday Praise. And today we're continuing on in Genesis, and we're going to look at Genesis chapter 2 and talk about Adam and Eve. Today, most people believe we are here by chance. You go to the man on the street, ask, how did people get on earth, and you'll hear all kinds of things. But that's not true. God created each of us, and we are special, and we have a special purpose. We aren't here by chance. And we are going to look at Genesis chapter 2 today, and this chapter gives us additional insights into the creation of the world. We looked at that last week, and if you haven't seen that video, go back and look at Genesis chapter 1. The creation of the world marks the beginning of time as we know it. So let's look at verses 1 to 3. And it says, Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day God finished his work that he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work that he had done. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it God rested from all his work that he had done in creation. So after finishing his creation in 6 days, God rested on the seventh day. God made this a special day. Verses 4 to 7 say, These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, when no bush of the field was yet in the land, and no small plant of the field had yet sprung up, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain on the land, and there was no man to work the ground, and the mist was going up from the land, and watering the whole face of the ground. Then the Lord God formed the man of dust from the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living creature. So here we're given more details on how God created mankind. Man was created from the dust of the ground, and God gave him a soul by breathing life into him. Verses 8 to 17. And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground the Lord God made to spring up every tree that's pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and there it divided and became 4 rivers. The name of the first is the Pishon. It is the one that flowed around the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and onyx stone are there. The name of the second river is the Gihon. It is the one that flowed around the whole land of Cush. And the name of the third river is the Tigris, which flows east of Assyria, and the fourth river is the Euphrates. The Lord God took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to work it and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, You may surely eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die. So God planted a garden in the east in Eden, and he put the man in it. God caused all kinds of trees to grow in the garden. There was any kind of tree, fruit-bearing tree that you could imagine was there for him to eat. But he put 2 special trees in the middle of the garden. One of these was the tree of life, and the other was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And this passage also tells us about 4 rivers that flowed out of the Garden of Eden: the Pishon, the Gihon, the Tigris, and the Euphrates. We don't know much about the first 2, but we know about the Tigris and the Euphrates. It's what they call the Fertile Crescent, Mesopotamia. And God told the man that he could eat from every tree in the garden except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, that really wasn't a hard thing to do. I mean, he had everything he could possibly want, just one tree he couldn't eat from. And that should not have been a problem for him. Let's look at verses 18 to 25. Then the Lord God said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him." Now out of the ground the Lord God had formed every beast of the field and every bird of the heavens, and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called every living creature, that was its name. The man gave names to all livestock, and to the birds of the heavens, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helper fit for him. So the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and while he slept, took one of his ribs and closed up its place with flesh. And the rib that the Lord God had taken from the man he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. Then the man said, "This is at last bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man." And the Hebrew words for woman and man sound alike. Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother, and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And the man and his wife were both naked, and were not ashamed. God saw that the man was alone, and probably lonely, and decided that he needed a companion. All the animals were brought to the man, and he named each of them, but none of the animals was a suitable companion. Now we have our animal friends, our dogs, our cats, our birds, fish, whatever, and they're great companions to us, but it's not the same as having another person in the house to talk to, is it? So God caused the man to fall asleep, and while he slept, God took one of his ribs and formed a woman. The woman was the perfect companion for the man. God designed men and women to leave their parents and be joined to a companion as one flesh. The man and woman were naked in the garden, and they were not ashamed. So we see that God created the union between man and woman. Man is the perfect companion for a woman, and vice versa. Marriage is an institution designed and defined by God. It's not a man-made institution that can be redefined by laws or popular opinion. It is created and defined by God. So that is where I'm going to end it for today. I'm going to leave you some key points at the end of this video, and I hope that you enjoy it, and I will see you next week with some more Sunday praise.